What's going on, guys? Welcome back into the channel. Today I want to talk a little bit about one of, if not the most important things that you should do whenever you're trading in Madden 20, and that is actually scouting a player's contract prior to trading for them. And the main reason that you want to actually scout a player's contract before you trade for them. What I will say is that this video topic was kind of brought up by Marine King 09 in the comment section of the last video. He said, when trading, I tend to go into the salaries tab and search for players that have multiple years left on their other team's contract. Do you also use that method? And in response to that, I said, yeah, I do use that method, and there's one glaring reason why you want to use that method. The number one reason that you want to go in and scout players' contracts whenever you trade for them is very clearly represented here by a couple people that I actually have on my team that I have traded for. Guys like Quentin Nelson, Heath Wade, and I'm sure there are a couple others on the team, Moss, Hubbard, guys like that, that you're seeing this $0 number in the signing bonus column on the salaries tab. Now, what does that mean for you? Essentially, what this means for you is that you're not responsible for the guaranteed portion of a player's contract whenever you trade for them. And, you know, we've talked about this in other videos and how when you trade for a player, the team that is trading away that player has to pay their bonus. It becomes a cap penalty for that team. And so whenever you trade for a player, like I traded for Quentin Nelson here, you have to consider the amount of money that they're making. If he would have remained on the team that he was on, he probably would have been making $15 to $20 million a year because of the guaranteed portion of his contract, the bonus portion of his contract. But because I traded for him, I'm not responsible for that guaranteed portion of his contract, and I now have a 99 overall player only making $9.5 million per year on a yearly basis here. So that is the number one reason why you want to scout out the contracts of the players that you're trading for. If you can get a guy like a Quentin Nelson that has multiple years left on their deal, and you can trade for a guy like that, it's going to be really valuable to you because you can get them at a discount is essentially what I want to cover here. If you trade for a guy like Quentin Nelson, that team that's trading them to you is going to become responsible for that cap penalty, and you're going to be able to get that guy for a discounted amount of money. And we can look at that with a guy like Heath Wade as well. He was a top-tier offensive lineman signed to a 5-year contract, or I guess maybe that was his rookie contract. In any case, I don't have to pay the signing bonus on his contract, and I'm only responsible for $5 or $6 million per year. And that's how you guys will see in these leagues that oftentimes I actually manage to have a really high cap space compared to other teams, and that reason being is that I don't tend to have guys on my team like Jamal Adams who are making extra amount of money per year because of their signing bonus that I'm responsible for. Instead, what I tend to do is I tend to trade draft picks and do things in order to bring in players. That way I don't have to pay their signing bonus and I can get them for a cheaper amount of money. If I go around the league and I look at any of the other older top offensive linemen, they're going to be making significantly more than Quentin Nelson is on my team because they will have signing bonuses. So if we go around the league, I don't know who else would be a top lineman at this point. We could look at Stratton here. Stratton, he obviously has a signing bonus and he's making $12 million per year, things like that. And you compare those types of linemen, maybe we look at a Laramie Tunsil who's making $14-15 million per year, and a large portion of that is coming from his signing bonus. We then go back to my team, and you can compare that to I have the best offensive lineman in our franchise at this point in time, and he's only making $8.5 to $9.5 million per year, and that's because there's no signing bonus value there that I'm responsible for, and that's because I traded for a guy that had multiple years left on his deal, and I essentially got a steal in doing so. And this is an aspect that I don't think a lot of people think about whenever they're trading for players. Whenever people trade for players, they're just thinking about, oh, I'm getting this player, he's whatever overall at whatever position that's going to help me out, and they might not necessarily think about the benefit you're getting from the contract. And likewise, you want to scout out your own players' contracts because you don't want to have the same thing happen to you in reverse. You know, I wouldn't want to trade away a Jamal Adams whenever I'd be responsible for $39.3 million in guaranteed money. And then whatever team I trade him to is going to get him for a fraction of that cost because I'm going to be paying this $39.3 million out of my pocket, and they're only going to be responsible for $65 million over 5 or 6 years, however long he signed for. And so essentially they're going to be getting him for a discount, and it's going to cost me money. You want to be that team that's trading for guys that have 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 years left on their contract, and you're able to get them so that you don't have to pay that signing bonus, and you can keep a really high overall player like a 92, or in this case a 99. You can keep them on your team for a significantly lower amount of money, and that allows you to supplement your team. That allows you to re-sign your other players, and it allows you to continue to develop your team in other areas and build your team and still go out there and sign other free agents and stuff, because you're continuing to get players at discounts and helping yourself out in that way. So certainly keep those things in mind whenever you guys are trading in Madden. Certainly try to target guys that have multiple years left on their deal, because, let's say I was a team trading for Micah Parsons. If I got a guy that has 6 years left on his contract and I can negate $40 million worth of that contract, I'm getting him at an extreme discount compared to whatever the team is that signed him for. So while I might be paying him $15 million on the Nighthawks, if a team traded for him, they might be paying him less than $10 million per year, and that's a steal for a player like that has 6 years left on their contract. They're 26 years old, and they're a super high overall X factor. So hopefully this helps you guys out in some way. Shout out to Marine King 09, who actually came up with the topic for this video. Hopefully it helps you out. Like I said, if it did, if it's something you guys already do, if it's a method you already use, make sure that you guys leave a like on the video. If it's something that you guys are going to consider using and consider, scouting out players' contracts more heavily before you actually go and make trades, definitely leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment down below with what videos you guys would like to see next, any tips and tricks that you guys could see or that you guys could use, let me know. I'll see you guys in the next video, and I hope you guys have a great night.